sorry, guys. Welcome to our first class for tonight. This is our class on diluting Wal Bara. Diluting Wal Bara. Our Aqeedah class. I want you guys to remember everything begins with and ends with your belief system. And this is something that I reinforce over and over again to all my students, and especially, let me make sure they're in here, my new shahadas. Let me type this. By the way, I belong to about 4 groups here of new Muslim groups. They've added me. I'm also in 2 groups on polygamy. Polygamy, not G. Oh my God, get rid of that urban English. Polygamy. Not polygyny. No. Okay. But alhamdulillah, the thing that I want to emphasize to you sisters over and over and over again is you have to assure that your belief system is correct. Because if your belief system is not correct, you're not going to be able to handle the trials of life. Life's not going to work out the way that you want it to work out in the end. Remember, you don't want to be the bankrupt man. Who's the bankrupt man? Who can tell me? Who's the bankrupt man? Who remembers that hadith? Who's the bankrupt man or woman? Anyone?
Is it the one who's on the day of judgment, all his deeds are in vain? Like he has no children to benefit him or any, like, never mind.
Nothing to do with children, not children. Oh, you almost had it.
Yeah. That's when you, when someone else takes your good deeds based on you be doing something bad to them or saying stuff behind their back.
Yeah, but not that is the bankrupt man. The bankrupt man is the person that will stand before Allah on the day of judgment, thinking that he had all these good deeds. All these good deeds in his favor, but they don't count because his belief system was not correct. Okay? That's why there'll be no Christians in paradise, no Jews in paradise, no way of life other than Islam. The good deeds that they do in this world are nothing. They will not be of no help to them on the day of judgment. Why? Because they did not believe in Allah. They did not worship him alone. Y'all understand that? That's the bankrupt person. He has no good deeds in his favor. And this is why the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, this world is the paradise. This world is the paradise for the unbelievers. You know, it's our paradise is not until we cross that Sirat bridge. So you don't want to be bankrupt. You don't want to stand before Allah and to be weighed and you have nothing because your Aqeedah was incorrect. So this is why we have to live each day of our lives reaffirming that our La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah is as it should be. And that includes having allegiance to Allah, allegiance to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and allegiance to the Muslims. Okay? We have to let go of racial ties and all of that. What do I mean by that? There's nothing wrong with acknowledging the fact that you belong to a certain race, but that shouldn't define you. Your allegiance is not to the people of that race. Your allegiance is to the Muslims, no matter who they are, what race they are, what language they speak. You guys understand that? And this is something that we have to work on. And we have to also work on Wal Bara, Wal Bara, how to distance ourselves. We talked about how there are some Muslims that we give and show all our allegiance and all our loyalty and love to? Who are those Muslims? Just to see if you guys remember. Who are the Muslims that we show, who we show all of our love, all of our allegiance to? Who are those? Who are those Muslims that we show all nothing but love, affection, allegiance to?
Those are the ones that we want for them what we want for ourselves.
No. No. Who are the Muslims that we show our nothing but love and allegiance to? No distancing at all. That's the question.
Yeah.
Say it again. Who?
The practicing Muslim.
Yeah, those believers amongst us who are practicing this religion. Right.
Yeah.
Those Muslims who are living each day of their lives trying to please Allah, fulfilling their obligations that they owe to Allah, and fulfilling their obligations to you and me too. These Muslims who are not committing openly, because none of us are perfect, but they're not openly sinning, and their belief system appears to be correct. They are deserving of all of our allegiance, all of our love, all of our support. And then there's another group of Muslims. Who are the Muslims that are in some aspects deserving of our allegiance, but in other aspects not? Who are those Muslims? They're deserving of our allegiance, our love, and our support on one hand, but on another hand, they're not. Who are those?
Those are the Muslims that need to be advised about their things that they're doing. You know, they're not totally following the laws, commands, and laws.
Exactly. These are those Muslims that are openly, publicly sinning. Maybe that brother over there doesn't have a beard. A beard is an obligation. Let me answer that question too. From the brother here, Timothy. He's on Twitch. Yes, the beard is an obligation. It's not a sunnah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded the men to trim the mustache, but leave the beard alone. The beard is a sign of your masculinity. The beard is from the fitra. All the prophets alaihi salam had beards. Okay? It's what distinguishes you from a female. It's an obligation. But there's a lot of Muslim men that refuse to grow beards. So these are people that's deserving of our allegiance and our devotion on when they're doing good. And we help them, but we also have to advise them, admonish them. Okay, I'll help you, brother, but where's your beard? You know you need to put that beard, grow that beard, dude. Those sisters that don't wear hijab, they are still our sisters in Islam. We help them. We support them, but we also advise them. When we go around them, we have to advise them and remind them, where's your hijab, sister? You know you're supposed to be covered up. So these are the Muslims, you know, who are openly sinning. And then there's another group of people who call themselves Muslims that are not deserving of any of our allegiance, any of our support, any of our love. Who are those? What group is that? What group is that that's not deserving of any of our allegiance?
That's the group that don't practice their religion at all. They say they're Muslim, but they don't practice.
They not only don't practice, but what else about them?
They may have different ideas about Islam. That's not true.
Exactly. These are the ones that claim to be Muslim, but their Aqeedah, their ideology totally is on the other side. It is totally contradicts La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. These people are not deserving of anything from us. Okay? These are people. Give me an example of a person that calls himself a Muslim like that. Can anybody give me an example of such a person? Timothy wants to know an example. Give me an example.
Are we speaking in reference to like a particular sect?
I want you to give me. I'm speaking in reference to my question. Give me an example of a Muslim that's not deserving of our allegiance or support at all.
A Muslim who's in the community that goes around talking about everybody and tries to break everybody apart.
No.
A Muslim brother that goes to the masjid, but at home he doesn't even make salah.
No.
He doesn't even practice.
Remember, their ideology totally contradicts what Allah says. This is about ideology, not practice. Most Muslims on earth today don't practice the religion. Do y'all know that most Muslims are just Muslim in name? This ain't got nothing to do with practice. This has to do with ideologies. So give me an example.
Like one who disagrees with like polygamy or something.
No,
like that?
that's
no. Okay.
Elijah Muhammad was the last prophet.
That's an example. This example would be a person that claims that he's a Muslim, but he does not believe La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, the nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad. They believe that Elijah Muhammad was the prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he wasn't. Or they believe that there's a spaceship that's going to beam you up. That's a good example. You know, you claim to be Muslim, but your ideology, your belief system totally violates Tawheed. These people are not Muslim. So because they're not Muslim, they're not deserving of anything from us. What's another example?
An example is those seeking intercession from the dead.
Muslims seek, believe you or not, most Muslims seek intercession from the dead. No, it's about ideology. Tawheed, like Elijah Muhammad. Or here's Amina. Good job, Amina. Another example, you say that you are Muslim and you believe in the Quran, but you do not believe in the hadiths, the sunnah, then you're not a Muslim. If you don't believe in the hadiths, that means you don't believe Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So how can you be deserving of my allegiance, my support, my help, when your ideology totally contradicts La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah? Y'all get it? I don't want you guys to have that Khawarijite mentality where you think that just because a Muslim commits a sin, that person is a kafir and that person is not deserving of our allegiance. That's why I'm asking this question. Most of y'all are putting people who commit sins in that category of no allegiance, no nothing. No, it's ideology. It's all belief system. Give me another example.
Also, can you say that you don't have allegiance to a Muslim that says LGBTQ is okay? Nothing is
that
wrong
would
with
be
that?
an example too. The president of the Gay Muslim Association here in America. This is a Muslim man, African American. He graduated from the University of Medina. Do y'all believe that? Can y'all believe it? Here's a man who graduated. That's why I say you got to be careful with all these graduates from the University of Medina. And he is the president of the Gay Muslim Association of America. He thinks there's nothing wrong with same-sex relationships. This ideology totally contradicts La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah totally contradicts. Men can't lay with men and be married. Women can't lay with women and be married.
Okay.
So it has to be an ideology that contradicts. Give me another example. Y'all got to learn this. Just because a woman doesn't wear hijab doesn't mean that we disown her, that she's not deserving. Just because a person was raised upon Sufism and he was taught like most all of y'all think that you can call on the dead people. I got more Sufis here than anything. Look how many of you think that you can only ask the righteous people to pray for you. That's Sufism. But does that mean it because you were raised to believe that a righteous person can intercede on your behalf? That means that you are not a Muslim deserving of nothing from me? Y'all got to know how to draw the line. Give me another example.
I'm gonna try again. What about those who participate in the election?
What does voting in an election have to do with La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah? How does that cancel out your belief in Allah or any of Allah's tenets?
Because they're voting for, I was thinking because they're voting for somebody that, a ruler.
Because they're committing a sin. That's the Kharajite.
Okay.
A sin does not make a person a kafir. Think about an unbeliever. Your belief system totally contradicts La ilaha illallah. Try another example.
Someone who denies the existence of the angels.
It doesn't happen. Nope. Try it again. Don't try to get philosophical.
The groups of mosques where women are the imams in the mosques and leading the men.
There you go. Those people that believe that a woman can be an imam, they can lead the men in prayer. They can be chaplains of masjids, imamas of the community. This totally contradicts. This is more than just a sin. Subhanallah, you are introducing a whole new ideology. Do you understand the difference, precious? These are people that are introducing a whole new ideology that women and men are equal to the point that a woman can lead a man. Is that what Allah teaches us? That's introducing a whole new ideology, just like saying that it's okay for same-sex marriage. This is a whole new ideology. Just like saying it's all about the Quran, no hadith. That's a whole new ideology. Do y'all get it? Give me another example. Precious, come up with another example.
Can it be also those who innovate, like try to add things into the way we worship Allah?
All right, so because most of y'all are innovators, does that mean that you're not a deserving of my allegiance? Does innovations have anything to do with my La ilaha illallah like a person advocating same-sex marriage does? Like a person advocating the hadiths are not right? Like a person advocating that women are equal to men and can lead a mosque and lead men? Y'all don't get it. So now do y'all see how we got this problem? This is why there's no wala amongst us. It all goes back to what I taught you guys a couple of days ago. Everything begins with seeking knowledge of this religion. Why is it that we Muslims are not united? Why is it that we can't get along? Because we don't truly understand our religion. We've been raised Muslim, born Muslim, but we never studied the religion correctly. We had no one to teach us correctly, or we chose to not listen to the people who do know. Okay? This is why this nation is divided. And that's what the prophet said would happen. The people will abandon the Quran and the Sunnah, the meaning of them, replace it with fatwa and other ideologies that they like, that go against what Allah said, against what the Prophet said, you know, and that's why y'all can't come up with no answers. Okay? And I want y'all to get it. A person who sins is not a kafir. Just because a person commits a sin does not take him out of Islam and make him a kafir, and you toss him or her to the side. Their ideology has not changed. They're just a sinful Muslim. And most people commit sins out of ignorance because they just didn't know. Just like a lot of y'all go around asking people to pray for you. You didn't know that Allah commands you in the Quran to call upon him yourself. Y'all said it. Y'all never knew. So can I call you a kafir? Can I distance myself from you? Can I cut you off from us? Because you don't know to make your own supplications. Okay, brother, let me look here on Facebook. A person that don't believe in the angels, no. Someone that denies prayer, no. Someone that gives, no. I want y'all to work on that. That's going to be your homework assignment for today. I want y'all to sit down and think about who or what type of person would fall in that category that is not deserving of nothing from us. No allegiance, no help, no support. Think about it. And I'm going to ask this question again tomorrow, and let's see if we can get some better answers, okay? All right, so let's get to the lecture today. We are still in chapter 10 of the book. And by the way, let me put that up here, the name of the book. The sister is asking. Wait, hold on. I'm going to have to bring that other computer in here after this. Where am I at? Here it is. The book is entitled Diluting Wal Bara by Kareem Abu Zaid. Pick up this book on Amazon. $19.99 is the price. It should be a part of everyone's library. Okay. We're in chapter 10 of this book, and we're on the section that's speaking about how to develop allegiance with each other. And this is the problem. You know, we can develop our love for Allah and our allegiance to him. We can even develop our love for the Prophet and allegiance to him. The problem we have as a nation is that love and allegiance for each other. Remember, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that our destruction as a nation will never come from our enemies. They will never overpower us. They'll never destroy us. Our destruction will come from ourselves, because we will hate each other. We will fight each other. Everybody's a kafir. We'll kill each other. We'll oppress each other. Why? Because we don't know our religion. We've abandoned learning Islam in its truthfulness. Instead of learning what those companions were upon, we're busy learning what the four imams were upon, or what Ibn Taymiyyah was upon, or what Sheikh Kamadam Dozen is upon, or what Mufti so-and-so is upon. We're placing those companions with others when we shouldn't. So that's why we can't answer questions, basic questions like this, which are questions of Aqeedah that every Muslim should be able to answer. Okay, let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen so we can look at today's. This is chapter 10 too. Hold on, yeah, I know my lighting. I told you guys, I'm making up my office, and I'm gonna, after this class, I'm gonna bring my other light in here, and I'll be able to make the lighting better. It won't be so bright and crazy like this. Okay, hold on. From the beginning. Okay, can everybody see this? And it pops up on my computer. Okay, today, this is chapter 10, And we're going to start at the section that speaks about how to foster peace, how to develop peace within our Muslim communities. Instead of us fighting with each other, arguing with each other, hating each other. This person's a kafir. This person's not deserving of my allegiance. We're going to cut this person off. We're going to boycott this person. How can we stop this and instead, or in turn, foster peace? That's what we're going to speak about today. Okay? Now, within the tapestry of brother and sisterhood, as I talked about yesterday, as Muslims, we're supposed to have solidarity. Solidarity, which means together. We're supposed to be together. We're supposed to stand as one. We're supposed to support each other. We're supposed to care about each other. And the only way that we can develop this type of solidarity is by training ourselves to love for the sake of Allah. And that's what we talked about yesterday. Loving for the sake of Allah means that you love only what Allah loves. It ain't personal. Take your personal likes and your personal dislikes, throw them out the window like the companions did. And instead, learn to love everything that Allah loves and learn to hate only what Allah hates. Once you do that, then that's how we become inspired to help each other. That's when we become a nation like those original companions were. We will learn to stick together, and the Quran and the Hadith would be our guidance. Not Islam Q&A, not Sheikh come a dime a dozen, not Imam so-and-so, not Sheikh so-and-so. There's only two sources in Islam, the Quran and the Sunnah. That's it. So it begins with, first of all, educating ourselves about the religion. Secondly, developing love and hate for the sake of Allah. And then we will emerge into this nation of solidarity based on the Quran and the Sunnah. Okay, and there's many different hadiths where our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam speaks about the outcome or the results of this type of love for each other, this type of solidarity. For example, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the Muslim is the brother of another Muslim. He doesn't wrong him, nor does he turn him in. And Allah will provide whatever you need if you are one who wants for your brother what you would want for yourself. Whoever soothes a Muslim's distress will be relieved by Allah on the day of judgment. And whoever hides another Muslim's faults, Allah will cover them on the day of judgment. Remember, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam received the call to prophethood during the medieval period, the Dark Ages. Okay, and these were the most horrific times in humanity's history. Okay, and I'm working on getting Dr. Hakim Quick to come in here and talk to y'all about that. We're trying to work that out. Okay, these were horrific times in man's history. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to teach the people how to be as one, how to stand together as one, how to overlook the faults of each other, and instead see the good that Allah likes about us in each other, and how to stand and support each other, to have each other's back. We're brothers and sisters in faith. Brothers and sisters in faith. And that bond is strong. It's even stronger than a blood tie. And that's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in another hadith, your spiritual bonds are stronger if you truly have this type of Wal Bara, our spiritual ties are stronger than our blood ties. And I know that's a fact because I'm closer to the sisters that I am bonded to here on this website than I am with my own family members. Okay? That's because of that loving for the sake of Allah. Also, in another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever defends the reputation of his brother, Allah will defend him from the hellfire on the day of judgment. Remember, I told you guys yesterday, as Muslims, there are three things. Anybody who declares La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, three things become sacred about that person: their life, their reputation, which is their honor, and their property. Those three things we cannot take from them. And the Prophet had to teach this because the Arabs were just as warrioristic as the Vikings and other people were in that era in history. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to teach the people a person's reputation is everything. Of the money we make, our relationships with each other is all based on our reputation, our honor. So we can't go around allowing jealousy to cause us to slander each other. You slander that brother, you slander that sister, you've destroyed them, you've killed him, you've cut off his head. Now nobody wants to deal with him. They believe what you're saying, even though what you're saying is not true. He loses his business. He loses his friends, his family, and everything. So that's why the Prophet taught them, speak the truth. Defend your brother in Islam. When you hear people saying things about that sister that's not true, and you know it's not true, you stand up in defense. Okay? You hear somebody saying something about that brother over there, and you know for a fact that ain't true. You stand up and defend his honor, defend his reputation. And whoever does that, Allah will save your face from the hellfire. Okay? Because back in those days, there was no honor. Back in those days, that's why it's called the Dark Ages, because it was the darkest time in humanity's existence. No honor. People didn't have honor. They lied, take from you for themselves. So the Prophet taught, how important it is to stand up for the truth. When you see somebody wronging your brother, wronging your sister, you know it's wrong. Speak out in his defense. Have his back. That's solidarity. Solidarity means I got your back and you got mine. I know that them people are lying. I'm going to support you. I'm going to be a witness for you. I'm going to champion you. It was all about championing. Back in those days, who's going to champion me? When you were back in the medieval times, when you attacked another person's character, their reputation, they would stand and say, well, who's going to champion her? In other words, who's going to prove that what they're saying is wrong? A lot of people wouldn't champion. Some wouldn't champion out of fear, and some wouldn't champion out of jealousy. So the Prophet said, champion each other. You know that what they're saying about him is not correct. Champion him. Stand up for the truth. You know what they're saying about her is not true. Champion her. Stand up for the truth. That's what this hadith is speaking about. Okay? Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a person, a true believer, does not cover another believer's faults in this world without Allah covering his on the day of judgment. What does that mean? This is another hadith that gets twisted a lot today. A lot of Muslims would, well, you catch, say, for example, you come home, you catch your wife having sexual relations in your bed with another man. And she jumps up and says, cover my faults. Allah said, whoever covers my fault in this world, he gonna cover yours. And they'll play that. This is a true story. I know. I got a phone call 3 months ago from some brother in Alabama. And he called and asked me about this. I had to refer him to Sheikh Morsi. But he called me. He said, Sister Layla, I come home from work and I caught my wife with a man in my bed. What do I do? I told her I was going to divorce her. She told me, no, I'm supposed to cover her fault. He said, is this true? I said, heck no, that ain't true. That is not what that hadith is talking about. This hadith is talking about, let me give you the history behind it. And this is what I told him. One day, there was a male servant. He was the servant of a wealthy Arabic woman. And one day he was standing in the marketplace talking about how many folds of skin she got, telling all her business about how her body looks. He was laughing. She got 3 folds of stomach, 3 this, 3, her butt like this, her hips like this. In other words, describing all her faults physically. When the prophet heard about it, he got angry. This is when those laws came down about how a woman, cannot have a non-mahrams, and all that. This is when that came down. And also that's when the prophet made this statement. He said, whoever hides the faults, why would you stand there in the marketplace telling the men of the faults that this woman have, that Allah has hidden for her? He said, don't you know whoever hides the faults of another Muslim in this world, Allah will hide them, your faults, on the day of judgment. This hadith is not talking about you catch another Muslim selling drugs and he's selling drugs. You want him to stop selling drugs because your kids can be buying them drugs. And he tells you, no, you can't turn me in. You can't do nothing to me. Hey, I'm Muslim. Hide my fault and Allah will hide yours. Y'all see how Muslims play with these hadiths? How weak Muslims today do that. So this is talking about hiding the faults. It came down when that male servant was sitting in the marketplace describing how this woman looked naked to other men. Okay? And that's why we can't have no male servants like that. Also, in another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, help your brother, whether he's an oppressor or he's being oppressed. And when he said that, the companion said, how do we help a person who is an oppressor? The Prophet said, by stopping him. So when you see another Muslim doing wrong, selling drugs, we're supposed to stop him. We don't sit there and hide and lie for him and cover up his fault. No, his sin. That ain't a fault. That's a sin. Oh, no. I'm going to do everything in my power to try to get you off the streets, to stop selling these drugs, because you're not only oppressing yourself, but you're oppressing everyone, including my children. Okay? We try to stop them. I'll get you some help. I'll take you to a shelter. I'll even try to hook you up with a job. But you got to stop selling these drugs, dude. We don't sit there and excuse the sin. Okay? So as you can see from just these 3 hadiths, the first one emphasizes the link of brotherhood. It highlights the importance of not going around hurting each other and not leaving a person on their own to fend for themselves when you can be a witness for them. And then the second hadith highlights the need to defend another Muslim's reputation. And whoever does that, Allah will respect and show dignity to you and spare you from the hellfire on the day of judgment. And then the last hadith about the oppressor shows, that the one about the faults, the one about the flaws shows that those who conceal the weaknesses, not the sins, those who conceal the weaknesses of others in this world, Allah will hide your deficiencies in the hereafter. Y'all got that? So that one about hiding the faults is talking about my deficiencies. That's the better word. That's why I changed it. He put, Sheikh Kareem put weakness in his book. I changed it to deficiency because deficiency is a better English transliteration of that word. Because I talked to Sheikh Dr. Asim. Dr. Asim said, no, a better translation for that would be deficiency. Hide their deficiencies. So you hide another Muslim's weakness or deficiency. Okay, in this world, Allah will hide your deficiencies in the hereafter. Because remember, we're all going to stand before Allah naked. Did y'all know that? We're going to all be standing up naked on that day of judgment. Some of us, Allah will clothe in garments of silk. Others, not so much. You want Allah to hide your deficiencies. Don't go around exposing others in this world. I might have a big nose. What you go around telling everybody I got a big nose for? Okay? Maybe I got acne problems. Maybe brother man is impotent. You got to go around telling everybody that your man is impotent? That's what it's talking about. Weaknesses, deficiencies like that. Hide that. It ain't talking about sins. The word for sin is totally different in Arabic. We don't hide each other's sins, but we do hide our deficiencies. Okay? All right. If we can implement this type of behavior within our communities, look at what it would bring about. It would create an environment that can only promote solidarity and unity. So this is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam encouraged the companions to want for them others what they want for themselves. To don't go around exposing our deficiencies, to defend each other, to stand up for each other, to speak the truth about one another. If we did that, this is how we establish unity and harmony within our communities. And what happens? It helps us to become empathetic. Remember, we talked about this yesterday. I talked about the difference between sympathy and empathy. A lot of Muslims today are looking for sympathy. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't teach that. He taught us how to empathize for others. Empathizing means I'm going to put myself in that person's predicament. Imagine myself in his or her predicament. What would I do? What would I want others to do for me? That's empathy. Sympathy means to pity people. There's no pity parties in Islam. Remember, Muslims are balanced. We're not too far to the right, nor too far to the left. No sympathy, empathy, empathy. So if we can live by just those three hadiths I just went over, they will help us, to empathize more with each other. We will end up putting ourselves in the other person's shoe. What if that was me that had a big nose? Would I want people to make fun of me? To know about that? What if I had six toes instead of 5? Would I want people to know that about me? So it will help us to be more empathetic. It will also help us to be more respectful of one another. And it will help us to be able to accept the reality that we're not the same. All of us, we come from different backgrounds. Some of us have different perspectives on life. Some of us have different viewpoints and different experiences. But by us being able to empathize and be respectful of one another, in turn, we accept them. We welcome the diversity. We celebrate our differences. And in turn, we become more stronger, more united, and we live in more complete solidarity. Okay? And again, I emphasize empathy a lot because I can see how the Muslims today are apologetic. The Muslims today in general are weak. The Muslims today in general lack in self-esteem. They lack in pride of being a Muslim. So I highly encourage you guys to work on empathizing and do less sympathizing. Because if you can empathize, that'll make you want to jump up and help somebody without questioning, should you not do it? Because it's all about imagining yourself in that situation. What if your lights was cut off? What would you do? How would you feel if your lights were cut off? Well, hey, no question. Here, sister, here's $50. Go put your lights on. How would you feel if you were single and had 6 mouths to feed, no husband, no one to care about you? It wouldn't be no thought, just you'd react more. So I highly encourage Muslims to do more empathizing and less sympathizing, because empathy is what leads to justice. Empathy is what leads to pride. Empathy is what leads to compassion. And this is what we Muslims need today as a nation. More love for each other, more justice in dealing with each other, and definitely the compassion. Remember, Allah tells us in the interpretation of the meaning, work together in righteousness, but do not work together to sin or be aggressive. This verse here is a good reminder of the significance of working together. And again, empathy becomes the way to do that, because you're imagining yourself, how you would want people to treat you in that situation. So this verse here, is a good reminder of how important it is to work together. And also to be good and just, to avoid hurting one another, to avoid transgressing each other. So again, guys, how does it begin? Number one, how can we develop that closeness with each other, that allegiance with each other? Number one, educate ourselves about this religion more. Make that the priority. To, on a regular basis, seek the correct knowledge of this deen. Secondly, train our souls to love only what Allah loves and hate only what Allah hates. And then work on being more empathetic. Replace sympathetic with empathetic. Doing those 3 things leads to justice, leads to love, leads to compassion, which in turn leads to unity or solidarity. That's the word I like, solidarity. Okay? And again, I want y'all to ponder this. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, have mercy to those on earth, and Allah will have mercy upon you. Okay? And you develop that mercy through empathizing. A person that empathizes is a person, again, puts himself in that predicament. How would you want people to respond to you? And that's where the mercy comes from. Okay? And being merciful and generous, it helps us to share whatever good Allah has given us with those who are less privileged. It also helps us to strengthen our communities. When we put ourselves in the shoes of others and try to comprehend what they're going through, we not only strengthen our relationships with each other, but also we provide solace to those who are going through difficult times. I hope this all makes sense to you guys. I've been teaching this to you guys for years. I really hope you guys are getting this. Do away with sympathy. Replace it with empathy. That's what it boils down to. So now let me give you guys a quiz just to see how well you paid attention in this lecture. Let's put the quiz up. Question number 1. What will Allah do for the person who defends the reputation of another Muslim in this world? What will Allah do for you? Take the mic. Go ahead, guys. Come on. I got to make salat. Let's go. What will
Allah would defend him from the hellfire on the day of resurrection?
Exactly. Allah will defend you and save your face from the hellfire on the day of judgment. Good job, Latifa. Do I still got time for my grip, Latifa? Latifa, what time is it? It's dark. It looks real dark out here, guys. Hope I ain't lost up. Question number 2. What is the difference between sympathy and empathy? Yeah, I got time. What's the difference between sympathy and empathy?
Well, sympathy is feeling sorry for the one who might be going through some hardship. And empathy is actually putting yourself in the place of that person and feeling what they might be going through by putting yourself in it. So you're actually, putting yourself in there like you're going through the situation. So that's the empathy, having a deep sense of care and understanding of their situation.
Good job. Good job. Okay, I think this might be the last question. Which is better, empathy or sympathy, and why? Which is better, empathy or sympathy, and why is whichever one better?
Empathy is better because you're putting yourself in that person's place and not just feeling sorry for them with the sympathy.
Good job. Good job. And I want you guys to remember too, another danger of sympathy is sometimes people can play on our emotions to make us feel sorry for them, that we end up doing things that we shouldn't do. You can come and cry me a river about how you need money to buy cigarettes. And I can feel so bad for you. Here, take this $2, $5 and go buy you a pack of cigarettes. That's what sympathy can do. Oftentimes, if we allow our emotions to take charge, remember, the heart is controlled by the heart has 2 entities assigned to it. There's an angel assigned to the heart, and there's a jinn, and they both inspire you. Sometimes we're inspired by that angel. Sometimes we're inspired by that jinn. That jinn can play on your emotions because he knows your weaknesses and get you to end up sympathizing to the point where you give a person money to go buy a bottle of alcohol. That's the danger of sympathy. But with empathy, that doesn't happen because you're putting yourself in that predicament. What if this was me? What if I knew that it's haram to do drugs? What if I got the urge to want to go out and buy weed? I know it's bad for me. Will I give in to it? Heck no, I wouldn't give into that crap. I'd go make 2 rakats. Or I'd go eat some ice cream. Replace it with a Starbucks. Go buy some chewing gum. So no, I ain't giving you no money. You see, that's another thing that makes empathy better. Because you're using your brain, not your heart. Y'all see the difference? Sympathy plays on emotions. Empathy entails logic. It entails the brain, the thought. And these are 2 separate entities. The heart, the brain. The heart, the brain. So that's another reason why empathy is better.
Layla, I have a hard time with begging women. I had 8 kids. We was in the cotton field, we was in the pepper field, and we was in the grape field. So when you come into me, you just got 6, and you talking about po, I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel nothing. I tell you behind, go to the grape field, go to the pepper field. That's just what I'm saying.
That's empathy. That's because you're not using sympathy. You're using empathy, logic. You're thinking like I think. The same way I can get up off my rocker and go DoorDash, you can get up off your behind and go, you got a car? What you over here begging? Get your butt out there and go DoorDash. I need my money. I ain't got no man either. That's empathy. Empathy, you put yourself in the person's shoes and ask, what would you do? If it were me and I had 6 kids and no husband, I'm going to get up off my behind and go get a job. Nursing homes are hiring everywhere. Ever since COVID, the health industry is booming. They have a shortage of people working in nursing homes. Nursing homes pay up to $25 an hour. That's good money, plus all the overtime you want. So rather than you come and beg me to give you my money, get your butt up and go fill out an application down the street, because they hiring. Ain't no excuse to be begging. Go work in a nursing home and change some. You got 6 kids. You know how to change butts. Go work in a nursing home. That's all you got to do is change butts all day. And you get $25 an hour. That's empathy. If you use your brain, you don't fall for that. You'll give them the right advice. And you'll remind them, the prophet said it's haram to beg. He said if a person is capable and fit, you should go out and get a job. It would be better for you to sell some wood than to come begging for me. Girl, you young, you healthy. The nursing home is hiring $25 an hour. That's empathy. But a person that sympathizes would say, oh, the poor young lady with 6 babies. She's so young. Here, I'll just sacrifice my rent for you. Oh, heck no, not here. Good example, Amina. That's the difference between empathy and sympathy. Empathy is better, hands down. And the prophet said that one of our downfalls as a nation, he says one of the downfalls of this nation is we're too sympathetic. We're too emotional. That's our downfall as Muslims. We get too emotionally attached. We need to detach from all that emotion and start using the brain. Get rid of all that sympathy and replace it with empathy. That's our downfall. The prophet said that our downfall will be that our emotions, we either give in to our anger and we give in to feeling sorry for ourselves. And that's when he said Allah will never change the condition of a people until they change the condition of themselves. My nation will feel sorry for itself. And that's what we do. We're feeling sorry for ourselves. What are we doing to empathize and get out of it? Yeah. Anybody else? Good job, Fresno. Anybody else? Any other comments? Okay, let me look on here.
I had a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I know you went over a couple of times just to clarify it, but just to be clear, when you say covering someone's faults, you're not covering their faults if it's publicly. So you're not really saying
we're covering. Like I told you guys, a better way for y'all to deal with that is the word Dr. Asim gave me. Dr. Asim has a PhD in Fusha. Deficiencies. You're covering my deficiencies, not my sins. Because when you Americans read fault, y'all thinking sins. It ain't about we don't cover nobody's sins. As Muslims, we have to enjoin the good, Mina, and forbid the evil. If you see something wrong, we're supposed to stop it, not cover it. So faults does not mean sin. It means my defects. My defects as a person. I got a big butt. I got a big nose. I got short hair. Are you getting it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because you went over that before. But it's people always say, cover my faults, but it's not when you're sinning. That's not.
It's not.
Okay.
Even if you look in a dictionary, fault does not mean sin. Like I told you guys, Americans haven't spoken English in centuries. Americans are the creators of the Urban Dictionary. We will take a word that doesn't mean what it means and take the opposite of it and make a word. So that's in the Urban Dictionary. In the Urban Dictionary, fault means sin. When they have two, you look it up in Webster, they don't mean the same at all. A fault is talking about, fault means mistake. Fault means mistake. It does not mean sin. You understand? So like I told you guys, especially this is a big problem in the African American community. The African Americans don't understand the meaning of basic words, and they will twist them around and give them their own meanings, like they did with revert. If a person converts to Islam, he's a convert, not a revert. The same with polygamy. It's polygamy, not polygyny. African Americans, Ebonics. That's why we have the Urban Dictionary now. And the hip hop is in there too. We have the Urban and Dictionary and the Urban hip hop. It's always African Americans. Okay, so as Muslims, we're supposed to cover each other's deficiencies or shortcoming, meaning my nose, my butt, my breast. Maybe I got a twitch. Okay. Maybe I have anxiety. That ain't nobody's business. Layla's anxious. So it's not talking about sins. When you see an evil, you're supposed to stop it. You see a Muslim robbing a bank, you're supposed to stop it. You see a Muslim selling drugs, you're supposed to stop it. You see a Muslim committing murder, you stop it. You don't sit there and witness it and say, okay, brother, I got you. I ain't gonna say nothing. No. Ebonics, don't hit it. Y'all got it? Yeah. And again, that shows how knowledge is number one. We cannot live by Wal Bara unless we learn this deen correctly. The hadiths have been twisted around. The Quran has been twisted around to mean things that they don't mean. And this is why we're a messed up nation. No understanding, no knowledge of the deen. Knowledge first, then loving and hating for the sake of Allah. That comes second. Okay, any other questions?